Hey, what's going on, crew? Hope you guys are doing well today. Welcome to another edition of Clinic Growth Secrets. Today, we're going to talk about pricing, fee structure, and some kind of marketing money math. This is perfect for anybody who's really looking to dial in their marketing as it relates to their own pricing strategy. And again, before we get into the show, remember to pay the fee. The fee is very simple. You hit the share button when you get value, and you don't hit the share button when you don't get value. In fact, the only way we do grow, if you do get value, is through word of mouth. We do not spend money to grow this show. I have not put a dime into advertising, and we do like to keep it that way because I think when people find us naturally, it tends to be a better audience than just kind of spraying it to everybody who for the sake of viewership. And so we really have a targeted topic on this show today, which is pricing and ultimately how the pricing relates to your marketing money math. So let's get into this. So the first thing to consider is that there are rules to the game. There are rules to the game. And what that means is that a lot of marketing fails not because of the marketing itself. A lot of times marketing fails because although there were leads and the leads may have showed up and maybe even bought, maybe they even purchased, the challenge with that is that sometimes the money doesn't make sense from a business model perspective. So the leads are saying yes, but the business is not able to positively cash flow the investment. Okay. Which results in money lost. It results in a little bit more short term thinking. And I think at the end of the day, what it does is it really provides a discouragement towards any sort of future marketing endeavor, which is unfortunate because pricing is one of the easiest things to fix, especially in the cash model. Okay. So let's talk about a few things that are very important in marketing as it relates to your pricing and conversion model. Okay. The first two elements are lifetime value, also known as LTV, and then CAC, customer acquisition cost. We jokingly call it PAC around here, patient acquisition cost, right? So CAC is what does it cost you all in to get a new patient to say yes to care as it relates to marketing spend, okay? So if we know those two things, lifetime value and CAC, then we can effectively market our business and have good target returns. So let's break those two down a little bit more in the ratio of them. Okay, so lifetime value is what is the average patient worth in terms of cash to your practice over the lifetime duration of their care. Okay. Now, here's how you calculate that. This is really, really like kind of the how to's of the show today, right? Here's how you calculate LTV. LTV is not meant to be calculated in a month's time or even 3 months' time. Ideally, not even a year. In a perfect world, you're using a lot of years of data to calculate lifetime value. And what you're essentially going to do is, let's say you've had a practice for 10 years. What you'll do then is you'll ultimately go and take all of your collections, every dollar you've ever collected over the past 10 years, and you would add that up and you'll get some big number, hopefully. And then what you'll do is you'll take that big number and you'll divide it by the total number of patients that started slash said yes to care. So that bottom one is not leads. It's not number of leads over 10 years. It's not number of people that showed up in the office over 10 years. It's number of conversions over the 10 years. So effectively what you've got is you've got your total collections over 10 years by the total number of people that said yes to care and made their first payment. Okay. Not just said yes and then they didn't pay. They had to have paid. Even if you're doing pay per visit model, they had to at least pay for the next adjustment, right? So they had to have said yes and taken the recommendations. We're not talking about if they stuck for the whole time or not. We're just looking at the number of people that said yes to care. Okay. And what you'll find is that you'll have some patients that have been with you for 10 years and they're perfect patients. Some patients were with you for 90 days. Some patients were with you for 2 visits, but all those people still said yes. And so what you're doing is you're getting that total collections and you're dividing it by the total number of people that said yes. And that's going to give you an average patient lifetime value. And if you're doing it over 10 years, you've got a great sample size. So that's going to give you a much more accurate lifetime value than doing total number of collections over the last month divided by total number of people that said yes. Like that's not going to give you really a great total collect. That's not going to be it, right? So you really need to just sit down and do that money math. It's a pretty easy equation. I think most of you guys listening have EHR, CRMs that can give you total collections over the last 5 to 10 years total number of conversions. Like we should have that data. And if not, then just start tracking it. And then in a year's time, a year is still a decent sample size. And then in a year, you can get your LTV, right? But again, we try to do that once a year for our business, where I'll go back and basically like this year, we've had the business for about 5 years now. So in January, I took the last 5 years. Next January, I'll take the last 6 years. So I'm always taking like big sample sizes, but I'm still going to look at like how does the 5 year compare to the 1 year? I'm still going to do some comparison like that. At any rate, that's lifetime value. Okay. So what is the average patient worth to your business when they say yes? Okay. That's what we're trying to figure out. A good North Star is at least $2,500 in chiropractic, in decompression, in these ancillary shockwave and that kind of neuropathy services. Like it's got to be at least 2,500. Okay. That should be your goal. Okay. If it's not 2,500, then it's like, well, dude, it's just too low. Okay. So it's got to at least be $2,500. That's a good North Star. Okay. So a lot of you guys listening can get 2,500 in the initial 90 days. That's great. That means your LTV is probably going to be 4 or 5 grand, maybe even 8, maybe 10, right? But if you're getting the model going and you're trying to adjust your prices, a good North Star is I need my lifetime value to at least be 2,500. Okay. So that's lifetime value. Now, CAC, customer acquisition cost, or again, PAC, patient acquisition cost, is essentially what does it cost you to get a patient? So if you're running ads with an agency, right? So such as our clients, they run ads with us. That's what we do for them. Then what we'll do is we'll look at, hey, here's how much you paid an agency fee this month, and here's how much was spent in ad spend, and then here's how many patients said yes to care. Here's your PAC. Here's what it cost this month, right? So the PAC is something they were kind of always looking at, right? Again, you can look at larger sample sizes, or you can look at the PAC on a monthly basis too. A lot of people are evaluating marketing and kind of moving money around like frequently, right? I think CAC is something that we should be evaluating very, very frequently. Okay. And so once we have the lifetime value in the CAC, then what we can do is then we can take the lifetime value. Let's say that lifetime value ended up being 3 grand. Great, cool. We're above the 2,500, so lifetime value is 3 grand. And then let's see that maybe our patient acquisition cost was $500. Cool. So what we'll do is we'll take our handy dandy calculator and we'll divide some math out. So we'll take $3,000 lifetime value divided by $500 to get the patient to sign up for care. That's a 6. So basically, your CAC is 6 times less than your LTV, or your lifetime value is 6 times greater than your CAC. That's great. Okay, so that minimum ratio that you're looking for lifetime value to customer acquisition cost is a 3-to-1. So if your LTV is 3 grand lifetime value, and you'd want your allowable CAC to be no more than $1,000, so you're still getting that 3-to-1. Okay. Now, one caveat on that, and I don't want to get too deep in this, but if your business is a very, very low margin practice, not my favorite style of business, by the way. You can tell I need a new shirt for the guys that are for sidetrack here. You guys can tell I need a new shirt because I got a little hole in my shirt. Any rate, but you can if you're getting 3-to-1, that's good. But here's the secret: is that if you're getting lower than 3-to-1, then you probably want to fix that first and foremost. And if your business is also very, very low margin, like you're running like, let's say like a 10% or even a 15% profit margin, you're going to need more, basically a better ratio of lifetime value to CAC because your margin is so low. So again, like that's one of the things that business owners get killed on is their margin, especially when people sign up for these big leases that are, $5,500 a month, 10 grand a month. I've seen they sign up for the next decade. And it's like, you just sign yourself up for a $1.2 million lease over the next 10 years. You know what I mean? So don't get killed by your overhead. So if in most practices that are running between a 30 to 40% profit margin, you're at least looking for 3-to-1 lifetime value to customer acquisition cost. Okay. So that's the money math. Number one is like, how do I know what I need to pay to acquire a client? Well, that's the secret is you want to get 3-to-1 lifetime value, and you need to adjust your lifetime value or your marketing play to hit those numbers. Okay. Next piece is what do we want to do for what's known as cash up front? Okay, so this is another very important metric. So cash up front is we need the patients to pay a good amount of cash for their care in the initial 30 days or on the first day they sign up. Okay, so here's what we're doing is we're evaluating marketing metrics based on our ratio of lifetime value to CAC as a working vehicle. Okay, this marketing vehicle, Google, Facebook, Instagram, if I'm getting a 3-to-1, it's working. Great. Now, here's the other thing that matters, though, is that sometimes, let's say your patient lifetime value is 3 grand. Sometimes it takes a long time to realize that money. You might say, hey, man, it's 3 grand over 10 years. That's not great. But if it was, It's going to take you 10 years to collect that $3,000. Okay. So that's a long period of time to collect the money. So if we think about it, your marketing expenses typically are budgeted for on a monthly basis. Okay. Let's say you're spending $5,000 a month on Facebook this month. Okay. You're spending $5,000 and you're doing that monthly. Okay. So if I'm spending $5,000 in my clinic, I'm going to make sure that my CAC to lifetime value is 3 or more, but I'm also going to design my pricing model so that I can get that $5,000 back the same month. I need to be able to get that $5,000 back in the same month so I can liquidate my marketing investment. So if I can get, let's say I spend $5,000 a month on marketing, but I'm selling pay in full plans for $2,500, I only need to close 2 people to get that cash back, to get that outlay right back to me. And then I've already got my $5,000 back, and then I can put that $5,000 into marketing again next month, right? So your ability to get cash up front is one of the biggest drivers of a successful marketing program, because you need to be able to liquidate that. Now, if you're running a very big practice, you're doing $100,000 a month and you're running like $40,000 in profit a month, like if you didn't make the $5,000 back that same month, like you probably it wouldn't be detrimental because you've got just enough surplus. Okay. You've just got enough cash. But if you're running small and like, again, you're just getting started and you're trying to get to 50 or $100,000 a month, a lot of times that does matter. A lot of times you do want to get that cash back. So if you spend $5,000 in 30 days, you want to be able to get $5,000 back in 30 days from your new patient signups, which will, again, it will liquidate your investment and allow you to continue to reinvest to grow the business. So those are the 2 North Stars. Having the correct LTV to CAC ratio. Okay, cool. I'm paying $3,000 LTV. My CAC's $1,000. Cool. I'm getting a 3-to-1 viable vehicle. It will work for marketing. Now it's how do we get the LTV to be realized quicker, and how do we get more money up front as the patient commits to care so that we can ultimately get that money back. And that is how you effectively will never not be able to market. You will always be able to market if you do this strategy, because again, you're axing if it's a vehicle that's getting you a 1-to-1 CAC to lifetime value, you kill it. As long as you're doing your part, you're working the leads, your conversion process is good, right? You want to be able to optimize a little bit, but if you've optimized for a long time and you still can't get 3-to-1, then axe the vehicle. Okay, just get rid of that one. But then once you've got 3-to-1, then it's, am I collecting the cash? Am I getting that $5,000 back? Am I getting that marketing investment back? If so, continue doing what you're doing. You've got a great LTV to CAC and you're getting the money back for reinvestment. Good to go. If not, then just adjust your pricing model to get more pay in fulls so that you can liquidate the spend and then ultimately put that money back into growing the business. So the goal is to continue to grow the practice every single month by continuing to get the spend cash, get the cash back the same month. We know that that's a profitable vehicle with the CAC ratio to LTV. Reinvest again, grow. And then you grow by adding vehicles. You add Google, it's working, 3-to-1, good cash up front, cool. Add Facebook. Okay, Facebook, cool, getting 3-to-1. You're getting good cash up front, cool. Now add TikTok, right? The goal is to continue to grow by addition, because businesses rarely grow by subtraction. Okay, the only time we want to axe something is if we're not getting like a 3-to-1 CAC to LTV. That's the only time we'd want to we'd want to axe something. Or in the nuanced case, you're getting a 3-to-1, but your business runs at a very low margin. In my opinion, you've got bigger problems with that. You need to fix your margin, right? But again, if you're still getting 3-to-1 and you're happy with that and it makes sense for you, great. Otherwise, you might need to get a little bit higher lifetime value to CAC if your business is extremely low margin. Okay. By the way, as it relates to low margin, a lot of people think that like, oh, once I get to $50,000, my business will be real profitable. Once I get to $100,000, my business will be real profitable. I've always been of the belief that your business should be profitable from day one. Okay, especially because when you're beginning the business and you likely are starting with debt, you're starting with a lot of leverage, you're starting with a lot of loans. You need to be able to get cash. You need to be able to make it profitable. Okay, so like believing that the business, like taking on 40 grand of overhead and at the very beginning and then saying like, oh, once I get to 60 grand, I'll be profitable. It's a really dumb strategy, because you're liable for 40 grand a month every single month. That's a fixed overhead. You're racing against that every single month. And in the beginning, it might take you a little bit longer to get stuff off the ground to be cash flowing above 40 grand a month. So don't take on a bunch of debt for just the sake of taking on debt because like, oh, once we get to 50, then we'll be profitable. That's not good. You want to be profitable the whole time. You want to stack cash, and then you want to reinvest in the growth while still having those reserves. Okay. That's a whole different, again, conversation, but I've always been a believer in running the business very lean in the beginning.
We at one point ran our business at about a 50% profit margin because our overhead was so low. You know what I mean? And I've seen clinics run that low. I've seen guys that are doing 300 visits a week out of 900 square feet and they're killing it. You know, the rent's 2,500 bucks a month and they're cash flowing 30, 40 grand a month. You know what I mean? So it's like they're able to keep a lot of the money that they make in the beginning because then they can save for investment. And then when the time comes, they have the cash on hand to be able to go on the offense, to be able to make those investments, to be able to buy that competitor, right? So, hope it's been valuable. Those are some marketing kind of money math for you owners out there, kind of evaluating marketing vehicles. This is something we help with all of our clients. We do weekly reviews where we look at cost per lead, cost per show, cost per conversion, CAC, LTV ratios, cash up front, all that kind of stuff. So if you guys have any questions, as always, feel free to book a call with us in the show notes below. Otherwise, if you got value, hit that share button. And if you didn't get value, again, like I'm a big believer on value exchange in the economy today. So don't hit the share button. But I hope you guys got value today. I love money math. I think it's fun. I think it's one of the quickest ways to grow businesses if you really understand the money side. So I hope that's helpful, guys, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.